Hey Spuddies, Potato McWhiskey here, and today we're talking about the new expansion for Humankind, Together We Rule. I do apologise for being slow to get this video out. I've been sick, away on holiday, and I got my internet cut all in a short span of time. However, I'm pretty excited to bring you this video, so let's just jump into it. Together We Rule overhauls and updates many of the diplomatic and subterfuge mechanics in the game. It features 6 new cultures, one for each era, all coming with the newest affinity, the diplomatic affinity, whose emphasis is all about generating and using leverage. Leverage is a new currency players can collect and use either in diplomacy, espionage, or the Congress of Humankind. That's right, Humankind now has a World Congress system, with players being able to pass laws, settle diplomatic incidents, and influence global ideology. There's also a new type of unit class called the Agent, which can perform actions no other unit can do. For example, the Envoy ignores zone of control and can generate resources by spending time in other players' territory. Especially important as that envoys can collect leverage resources on other civilizations. Spies are an agent that are able to enter enemy territory and give you information or even steal resources directly from their pool. There's also a new district called the Embassy, which enables the aforementioned new diplomatic interactions between players, and a host of other changes like new world wonders and narrative events, as well as balance tweaks and changes to the gameplay. That's a general overview of the new expansion. Now let's get into the details, starting with the newest ancient era civ, the Sumerians. The Sumerians are a diplomatic affinity culture which gives them the demilitarization ability. There's a lot of text to read here, but basically you can target a territory and force enemy units into the trespassing status, as well as generate leverage resources per turn for every non-authorized unit inside that territory. The second half of the ability is that you can collect leverage intel with any unit and not just agents, and you can have more agents than other affinities. The Sumerian cultural trait is a 10% discount on attaching territories to a city for every point of city cap that's unused, giving them the ability to make a very large single city, provided they have the city cap to support it. They also get a large discount on signing diplomatic treaties with Independent Peoples. The Sumerian emblematic quarter is the Edaba, which grants a large amount of science if it's adjacent to the main plaza or administrative center, as well as generating bonus influence every time you collect leverage intel. The emblematic unit for the Sumerians is the Aga Ush, which is arguably one of the strongest early game spear units. In addition to the normal spearman combat bonuses, they get even stronger for every Aga Ush unit in the same army. So making full stacks of Aga Ush will give you a very strong early game military. My impression of the Sumerians is that they are quite powerful, with a strong early science and military power giving them a good jump start into the game. Now also in the ancient era you'll be coming across a few new gameplay features, like the Embassy District, which is built like a wonder where it can be placed anywhere and multiple cities can contribute to its construction. Once you've built the embassy, any quarters built around it will give you a large influence bonus, and a completed embassy will unlock some new unique interactions with other civilizations that we'll talk about later. You'll also come across leverage and envoys in the ancient era. Envoys are able to ignore closed borders and walk anywhere on the map, scooping up leverage intel when grievances are generated between empires. Basically, now, every time you generate a grievance, or one is generated against you, it's possible to find a new type of point of interest on the map that will give you leverage when you step on it. Also possible to just get that leverage instantly by renouncing your grievances with another empire. Leverage has a lot of uses, and we'll be going over that later. Envoys also generate bonus influence for both players when they're in another player's city. You get 10% of the city's influence yield for both players, so you'll be quite happy when you see these little guys running around inside your territory. If you've been playing Humankind, go ahead and let me know in the comments, and don't forget to smash the like button so I can generate leverage against YouTube. For the classical era, the Han are the new culture. They are also diplomatic affinity, giving them the same bonuses as Sumeria. Their cultural trait, Fruitful Negotiation, reduces the cost of using leverage actions, meaning that any leverage you do collect will go a little bit further when you spend it. The Paper Mill is a Han emblematic quarter, which has all the basic interactions of a Maker's Quarter, with the added benefit of giving you access to a new paper resource, which generates a little bit of science when you scoop up leverage resources. The Han emblematic unit is the Lian Nu Bing, which is a repeating crossbow unit capable of doing an insane amount of damage if you wait a turn before attacking. Basically, they're crossbowmen that come an era earlier, but only if you shoot once every 2 turns. Otherwise, they perform pretty similarly to normal archer units. A very fun unit to use, I've really enjoyed them. Overall, I think the Rahan are a reasonably powerful choice. The Maker's Quarter emblematic quarter alone is pretty damn good, and their unique unit is reasonably powerful and fun to use. Now in the classical era, you're also likely to run into the new diplomatic interactions that are possible between civilizations. If both you and another player have built an embassy, you can sign agreements such as the Arms Deal, which will allow you to build each other's emblematic units, and there's another agreement called Monumental Contractors, which will allow you to help build another player's cultural wonders in exchange for money, influence, or leverage on that player. There are also new leverage interactions between players, such as Placate, which allows you to spend leverage to lower another player's war support, or the diplomatic ultimatum, which forces another player to respond to your grievances immediately instead of allowing them to put it on the long finger. These new diplomatic interactions add a lot in my opinion because they layer on top of the old treaty system which still exists in the game, especially arms deal because it's really fun to have access to multiple emblematic units. Independent People have also received some updates with the new patronage system which requires you to compete with other civilizations for control of the Independent People. After you reach a certain level of patronage, you can also sign new treaties with Independent Peoples like trade treaties to access their resources or full-blown integration into your empire as before. The interaction I really like though is where you can turn Independent People into a client state, generating a healthy chunk of bonus golden influence, as well as getting you some extra votes in the Congress of Humankind, which we'll talk about later. The Bulgarians are a medieval era culture for Together We Rule. They are a diplomatic affinity and their cultural trait is Victor's Honor, which generates a chunk of leverage against another empire if you win a battle against them without losing unit. This interacts really nicely with the new ambush mechanic, which can allow you to pick off and overwhelm small stacks of enemy units without giving them a chance to reinforce or properly defend themselves. Their emblematic quarter is the Knyaz Library, which generates a chunk of influence and gives you a boost of stability for every territory following your state religion. I'm really not sure how this one actually works, to be honest with you. I played around with it a few times and I'm none the wiser, so your guess is as good as mine. The most interesting part of the Bulgarians is their emblematic unit, the Bayaturi, which is a ranged horse archer that gets a boost in combat strength during a ransack. More importantly, it's just a really mobile horse archer that has a similar dominance to the Huns and Mongols, but without having to commit entirely to the militaristic playstyle that those civs encourage. Alongside the Bulgarians in the medieval era, you're going to be encountering the second agent unit, the Spy. Spies use a reworked stealth system to conceal themselves from the enemy. Basically, it works like this. Units have detection and some units have stealth. The more detection you have, the faster you deplete another unit's stealth. Units that still have stealth can move freely around the map, ignoring closed borders, and in the case of the Spy, they can also perform nefarious actions without detection, such as keeping track of enemy armies with the Track Army ability, or siphoning off resources from another empire cities without them noticing. There are, of course, normal combat units that make use of this new stealth mechanic, such as the Prowler and the Partisan units, which allows them to move unseen as well as ambush enemy units. Ambushes are a new type of battle where the person being ambushed cannot bring reinforcements that weren't present at the start of the battle, which gives you the ability to pick apart an enemy's armies piece by piece. For the early modern era, we're going to be playing as the Swiss in Humankind. Again, they are a diplomatic affinity culture and their legacy trait is inhospitable terrain, which increases any non-allied unit upkeep inside your territory by 100%, making it much more expensive to maintain armies that are invading or trespassing on Swiss territory. They also generate double leverage when making use of the diplomatic affinity demilitarization ability. Their emblematic quarter is the Watchmakers Guild, which functions as a market but gains bonus jobs when you place districts adjacent to it. Their emblematic unit is the Reichslaufer, which is a mercenary anti-cavalry unit that is cheaper for anyone that you have signed an arms agreement with and provides you with the bonus amount of gold when other empires do build them, incentivizing you to build up those arms agreements to support your economy. I like the design of the Swiss, even if I think during gameplay they were a little bit weak. I found them to be underwhelming in gameplay, but I think situationally they can do a lot of work. Starting in the early modern era, we will have access to a couple of new cultural wonders, namely the Palace of Versailles, which lowers the cost of leverage actions for your empire, but increases the cost of leverage actions for other empires, meaning you'll be able to easily dominate the Congress of Humankind with a massive amount of leverage. Speaking of Congress of Humankind, the second cultural wonder coming in Together We Rule is the Congress of Humankind headquarters, which gives you an extra 50 international sway in the Congress of Humankind. The Congress of Humankind is a new gameplay mechanic coming in Together We Rule. It allows empires to vote on global policies. It provides bonuses based on global ideology leanings and gives players a new way to settle disputes through international crisis appeals. Basically, if you want, you can take a crisis to the Congress of Humankind and every empire in the game will vote on who should win the crisis, allowing them to get all of their demands without fighting a war. Democracy at work. However, you do have the option to refuse to comply with the Congress of Humankind vote and instead declare an unsanctioned war to press for your own demands. The number of votes you have is tied to the amount of leverage that you've generated with other civilizations, so it might be worth it to let some grievances go so that you get leverage and then use your voting power in the Congress of Humankind to enforce a global ideology and be the kingmaker in international crises. When you get to the industrial era, you will be playing as the Scots culture. Diplomatic affinity, of course, with the legacy trait Intellectual Ferment, which gives you a 10% technology cost reduction for every empire that has already researched a tech that you are researching. Basically, if 5 people research a technology before you, you get that technology for half price. They also get a 3% boost to their science per active agreement in the embassy, which is a nice bonus considering you can get 2 to 3 agreements per ally fairly easily. Their emblematic quarter is the College, which is a research quarter that gives you bonus influence on your religious districts, a great follow-up to civs that have religious districts. Their unique unit is a gunner type unit, which is a ranged combat unit that fights at full strength in melee, making them rather unique. They also have the Highland Charge ability, which gives them the bonus combat strength if they move before attacking. They also ignore all movement penalties while charging. A very fun, very cool unit. Also, by the way, if you didn't know, Humankind updated their natural wonders a few patches ago, and we have a few new ones in this expansion. Now natural wonders will give you a unique bonus. For example, Eldgja gives you +2 food on tiles producing food for the city that Eldgja is in, and Pamukala gives you +5 money per market quarter. Very, very cool, very unique, and I like these new ones a lot. There's a total of 4 new natural wonders in this expansion and 2 world wonders, or cultural wonders rather. When it comes to the contemporary era though, you will be playing as the Singaporeans, who are naturally a diplomatic affinity with a legacy trait Centre of Attention. This gives them 10 bonus stability per attached territory on their capital and a 25% reduced absorb city cost. They also get a 5% fame bonus for every client state independent people that they have accumulated. The Singaporean emblematic quarter is communal houses, which provides a large bonus based on the type of district that are adjacent to it. And the Singaporean emblematic unit is the Reservist, which is a gunner type ranged combat unit with the Home Guard and Up in Arms ability, which makes them stronger when defending district tiles and doubles the amount of militia units city spawn when they are besieged. The Singaporeans were the only civ I didn't really get a chance to play around with, but they seem like a fun and interesting way to go about merging all of your cities together in the extreme late game. Quite excited to try them out. Now, in addition to all these changes, there will also be a host of new narrative events coming in this expansion. I won't go too deeply into those because I think the narrative events are more fun if you explore them yourself. Together We Rule is available now, and I would recommend giving it a go if you're a fan of Humankind. I have some gameplay videos coming soon, so keep an eye out for those. I hope this video was useful in helping you understand what the new expansion is all about, and don't forget to subscribe and become a member of the channel. I love you all very much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye!